Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal. And I'm here tonight with Kurt Leavins. Welcome, Kurt.
Thank you, David. That was a tough finish to a tough performance tonight, I thought.
You know what? I think the hockey gourds got the Oilers on that one because they didn't deserve to win, Kurt.
Yep, I agree. 100%. We're in lockstep there.
They played their weakest game of the playoffs, maybe against the Kings. I haven't really thought too much, but I think that was probably quite easily their weakest game of the playoffs. The grade A shots overall, Kurt, were 16-9 for Vegas, with a subset of 5 alarm shots, 9-7 for Vegas. So the score was 4-3, but yeah, this game was a mess. So we will go with 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers. But because it was a mess, we'll go with 2 bad things each.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yep, it does.
Just going to shoo my cat out of here. All right, Kurt. Let's go with your good thing. What was your good thing?
Well, my good thing is Corey Perry. This guy just keeps on ticking, man. At just shy of his 40th birthday, he scores 2 goals tonight. It was his 2 markers, including the deflection on the second goal that had the Oilers ahead 2-0, and apparently in the driver's seat in this game. And Rogers Place was rocking. It really looked like this team was on its way to another victory and a 3-0 series lead. This guy has been everything the Oilers could have hoped for this season, plus some again. He's been money in the playoffs. I thought he was by far and away the best Oiler tonight. In fact, I don't even think it was close. It's just a shame that they spoiled that special effort from him with the ultimate performance that they gave over the next, 47 minutes of the game, because things sure were looking up good. And as I said, Corey Perry, he just keeps going. And I remember back mid-season, the 3 of us talking, and I think I might have been the one that even raised it. It's like, maybe it would be a good idea for him and Derek Ryan to take, game on, game off, game on, game off, and just kind of preserve his energy for the playoffs. Well, was I wrong? He's got lots of energy, and he was really good tonight on a list of Oilers that were really good tonight. That was a short list.
Kurt, I was definitely saying that as well. Like, it looked like game on, game off, that would be a good idea at one point. I mean, he was really slow, but he was good tonight. They did take him off the top line eventually as they shook things up, right? But the one goal was just a beautiful shot, on a great pass from McDavid, and the other one, fantastic tip shot, doing what he's done his whole career.
Go to the net,
outside
right?
Shot by Bouchard, gonna miss the net, and he tips it in.
Yeah,
it's 2-0. Where the Oilers are rolling, and Kurt, they gave it away.
Yes, they did.
They gave it away. They gave it away. Oh, man.
But we'll talk about that.
Seeing some people saying Oilers robbed. The Oilers were not robbed.
No, not at all.
No.
It was an obvious case of self-larceny tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Nonetheless, Kurt, even though they were clearly the second best team on the ice tonight, as the game is going along, one guy decides he's going to try to take over the game and win it for the Oilers, and that's Connor McDavid. And he set up Draisaitl, and Leon normally would have scored. He had a fairly wide open net for him by his standards for his executioner shot, his harpoon one-timer, and he just missed it. He hit the side of the net. That wide open, man, he's like 60, 70, 80%. 80, you just expect he scores on that shot. Anyway, that was McDavid's first great play. A little bit later, 6:19 in the game, Leon does make a good play. He takes the puck behind the net, moving in fast, and he centers it to McDavid, who gets a really dangerous shot on Hill, who makes a big save.
Big stop by Hill.
Yeah. Then there's a outside shot by Wallman, and I can't remember exactly what. I think Hyman might have won a battle behind the net. Anyway, McDavid gets a pass, and just fires a great shot. Oh, that was Hyman in the crease. I think he gets it to McDavid, and McDavid fires a great slot shot. And again, it's another 2 5-alarmers in a row for McDavid, and he's going. He is going. Then there's a face-off, and off the face-off, he gets the puck on the sidewall. He dipsy doodles again, and whips it into the slot area. And it's gone past Hyman in the slot, who's crowding the net, and Shea Theodore is there, and it goes in off Shea Theodore's skate. And it's 3-3 with 3 minutes left in the game. The Oilers have somehow come back to tie this game, where they're not doing very well at all. Like Vegas, it was kind of a scary Vegas performance. But McDavid did single-handedly, really. You know, he was driving all the offense. There's been a lot of talk about the Oilers' depth. It was not apparent tonight. The other lines didn't create a whole heck of a lot on the attack. It was all coming through McDavid and, Corey Perry early, but McDavid right at the end. That was a great play, and they finally got some luck. There have been 2 great saves in a row by Hill, and the Oilers got some luck on the centering pass. And we're all expecting overtime at that point. I certainly was.
Yep.
Not to be.
Yeah, well, Connor, he has the ability, right? He has that kind of elite talent. He can put the team on his back and practically will them to victory. And when you get that many, grade A shots in that short a period of time, the odds are just in your favor that one of them is going to go in. And he's smart enough to know that even if he doesn't have the perfect look, just putting a puck toward the net is a good idea, because it can any number of things can happen to a puck on the way toward the net, as we found out in the final second of the game tonight. So it was a great last 5-minute performance, I'll call it, by Connor McDavid. He certainly did wow us and show us that he's as great as he is for a reason. But ultimately, that was not enough tonight.
So you're watching the game in Saskatchewan tonight, Kurt?
Yes, I am.
And with your mom?
Yep, with my 90-year-old Oilers fan mother, who was already preparing for overtime when that last minute puck went in. So there is no joy in Mudville here in Mudville, Saskatchewan tonight. So,
well, that's a good thing, watching the game with your mom, who's 90 and still enjoying hockey. And
honestly, it takes a bit of a sting out of the loss as you get to spend the evening with her. So
very nice. All right, let's move on to what we really want to talk about. All the bad stuff that happened. Okay, Kurt, what's your first bad thing?
Well, you know what? I'm going to lead off with the game that the Oilers played in front of Stuart Skinner tonight. And we all know the bad thing that's coming, and we'll get to that. But here's the situation where Calvin Pickard, we all saw it, he wrenched his leg when a Vegas night fell on him in the previous game. Comes up game time, Pickard can't go, right? And so in comes Stuart Skinner, the guy who was unceremoniously pulled after the second game and really wasn't very good in either game. Pulled in the second game, confidence shattered. On comes Calvin Pickard, and then Pickard wins 6 in a row, and Skinner is forced to sit there and watch. All of a sudden, he's thrust into this very difficult position, right? Like this guy has no momentum, no steam behind him. So he comes into the game, and there's a situation where you like to think your teammates are going to have your back, right? And come up with one of your better defensive games of the year, right? But it was anything but. And look, we all know that this Oilers team isn't an elite defensive team. It never has been. It probably never will be. But they're capable of playing good defense. We've seen it. And talk about impetus on a night like tonight, where you know that your beleaguered goaltender's in a difficult position. I compare it to when your captain or your best player has a bad call that goes against him and he ends up in the penalty box. You got to set your jaw and say, we're going to kill this off for our captain. There had to be an attitude of defensive hockey night on the part of the Oilers to say, we are going to make sure that our beleaguered goaltender is going to have a puncher's chance tonight. And I would say the opposite happened. Skinner gave his team the puncher's chance, and it was his teammates that let him down. Um, Pretty disappointing given the circumstances. And I gotta think that the leadership in that room is going to have a few things to say about that tonight, because that is not how championships are won. I was pretty disappointed, and I know we'll get to the numbers in a minute. But if anybody is putting that loss on Stuart Skinner tonight, give your head a good hard damn shake.
The expected goals against, according to our numbers at the Cult of Hockey, the Oilers would have expected to score 2.9 goals. They scored 3. Vegas would have expected to score 4.3 goals. They scored 4. This game turned out exactly what you'd expect based on the grade A shots totals and 5 alarm shot totals. The Oilers were just outplayed by 1 goal in this game, is the truth. And, Skinner wasn't great.
But he was good enough to win that game, I thought.
Yeah, he was. He was good enough to win that game. He didn't lose them that game. He didn't win them the game. Put it that way.
Yeah, that's
he was, and same with Hill in the other net. He didn't lose them or win them the game either. He got really bad luck on McDavid's goal that goes in off Theodore, but that's hockey too. There was bad bounces on some of the Oilers. In every play, there's bounces that happen.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, I'll go. I'm going to go with Leon Draisaitl as my bad thing in this game, Kurt. There was some commentary online that this was Leon's worst game of the year. They might not be too far from the truth. He's, so he's a culprit on 3 of the 4 goals, and a fairly major culprit on 3 of the 4 goals. And I'm just going to talk about the first 2 because you're going to be dealing with the winning goal later on.
Yep.
But so on the first one, it's just it's a tough play in some ways because he's fending off one guy, I think, or like he's got to check, and then another guy comes and catches up to him and takes the puck. Nonetheless, he seems like he's heading into traffic at the blue line, rushing the puck up. He just dumps it in. The safe play, you're up 2-0. And just dump it in and go get it. But, that's not his game. And he stick handles it. He gets stripped of the puck, and it's a 2-on-1. At the same time, Evan Bouchard on that play has rushed up into the play to join the play. It's a 2-0 game, Evan. What are you doing? Like, Corey Perry's up there. McDavid's up there. He didn't need to provide another offensive outlet. And so when there is a turnover, instead of having 2 defensemen back, there is 1 defenseman back. And on the play, I'm not sure what Corey Perry did. I'm going to have to review this again, but I have him marked down as doing something negative on the play. But Skinner, I thought he gave kind of a bad rebound on the initial. There was an initial, like after the initial rush, which the Oilers did a decent job of containing. There was an outside shot, and then the rebound went to the guy who scored, if I'm recalling this goal correctly.
It was on a rebound, yes.
Yeah, so I thought Stu might have done better on the initial shot with the rebound, but it's really on 2 guys, Draisaitl and Bouchard. And I think actually Bouchard's mistake is greater, but you can't have turnovers at the offensive blue line. And Leon, 2-0 lead, tough play.
Yeah, on that particular situation, it is poor game recognition on Leon Draisaitl's part. I agree with what you said. It's like, yeah, he's that player. He's going to make an offensive play. But when you're up 2-0, there is no need to take a chance and make a play there. It's the play on that sequence is to get the puck into the corner. I know you've got two more to go, but I saw it the
Yeah.
same way that you did.
You're under 5 minutes in the period. Get to the intermission up 2-0. I mean,
Yeah,
what a horrible moment that is for Vegas, right?
yeah. In fact, I was
Just get
saying while I was watching the game with my mom, I said, "Just get this to the room, you guys. Just get this to the room." And well, they got it to the room all right.
Yeah, Rick Bonus on the intermission said they essentially just collapsed.
Yep.
So the third goal, the score is now tied 2-2. This happens late in the third, or excuse me, late in the second period. And there's been a number of players who have been out on the ice for a long time in their own zone,
Yeah. Vegas
hemmed
had
into
them
their own
pinned.
zone.
Yeah.
So in total, um, Leon Draisaitl had been out one. So the Oilers finally get it out, and a bunch of players change. Two of them, Draisaitl had been on the ice for 137. I didn't check Arvidsson. I might just check that. Jake Wallman had been on the ice for 149. So three guys change off. Arvidsson goes first, then Draisaitl and Wallman are kind of second and third, tied for last on that one. And I thought Arvidsson actually, it didn't go very deep. It just didn't cross the blue line into the Vegas. Vegas had full possession of the puck, but the Oilers are so gassed, they try to get off the ice. Arvidsson makes the right call in trying to get off the ice because he's really close and he's anticipated it. And his replacement gets right back on the ice and gets into play. Draisaitl, he's a forward, he's gassed. But Jake Wallman, he's the defenseman there. Like, I know Draisaitl's taking a lot of heat for that change, but I actually think Wallman, who's the defenseman, needs to be more conservative and just he can look up and he can see they're coming right back into your zone with this puck. And his change, I just think, was not acceptable at all. So they rush it right back in. And Matthias Janmark, who has been out by the time the goal scored a few seconds later, he's been on the ice for 1 minute and 54 seconds. That's an eternity in NHL time. Like, that's like living to 138 years old. You know, it's just, he tries to make a play at the blue line, he gets beat. And so if he had just backed up, defended, they might have bought some time there, but he tried to make the play. He doesn't make the play, he's beat. Darnell Nurse is then defending, I don't know, 2 or 3 players in the slot. I think at least one Oiler has joined him by then. And but I do believe they're outnumbered by the Vegas players. Nurse kind of gets beat on the pass. He does get beat on the play. Stuart Skinner gets beat on the play. You know, I didn't think that was a tough shot for Stuart Skinner. That was a 5-alarm shot. It was right in tight in the pass.
Absolutely.
But I just think the line change on that, especially from Wallman and also from Leon, was, man, they had full possession. They're in the neutral zone. You can't change. Sorry. How'd you see it, Kurt?
Yeah, I saw it the same way, and unfortunately, I mean, we end up talking about that one because Vegas scored on it, but there were numerous situations where I just thought the Oilers were making poor situation, bad game recognition. It was a frustrating night from about the 47 minute mark on.
The Oilers got oilered, essentially.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, Arvidsson had been on the ice when he shifted off 146. So again, I did think, like, the one guy, he had a good chance to get off. He took it. That was really smart, actually. And but anyway, Kurt, what is your second bad thing?
My second bad thing is the goal against with less than a second left to go. And I think we want to take a look at the various factors that played a role in this. When you roll the tape back, this was essentially a 1-on-4, right? And you know what your coach said in Pee Wee: play to the buzzer, kid, play to the buzzer. And to William Karlsson's credit, that's exactly what he did on that play. It was a hope play. That's all it was a hope play, and he just kept going until the buzzer went or something else. I didn't absolutely love Brett Kulak's on play on that sequence. I thought he could have been better.
I thought it was soft.
I thought it was, but the interesting thing was he had the presence of mind to grab his check stick because he knows there's only seconds left, right? So he said grab so his check wasn't able to get back into the play. So while it was soft, he was mindful enough to understand, okay, there's a probably less than a second left. All players have a clock running in their head. I'm gonna hang on to this guy to make sure that he doesn't get back into play. So at least after that relatively soft play on the wall, on the end wall, he does take his guy. Leon Draisaitl, who man, he had one of those nights where, as hard as you might try, things just go wrong. And in this case, he had the opportunity to make a play long before the entry, and didn't do much more than wave at the attacking player. Let's be honest. It was
Carlson in the neutral zone.
yeah. That was a pretty half-hearted attempt at the neutral zone where I felt like one player was playing to the buzzer and maybe the other one wasn't. Maybe that's harsh, but look at the outcome. Then once the puck gets behind the Oilers' net, it's still easily numbers in the Oilers' favor, but none of them are looking at the loose guy. Like everybody's standing around thinking that the play is over. The one guy who is actually charging back, ironically enough, is Leon Draisaitl, and he ends up the deep guy on the play. Not forget the deep forward, the deep player period on the play. But what happens as the puck gets sliced to the net? He tries to knock the puck out of the zone. And after game 2, we were talking about the great eye-hand coordination he had on that bank goal in game 2. Well, just the opposite happened tonight. If anybody on the ice had a chance to make sure that puck, went free and clear, it was Leon Draisaitl. But nope. The hockey gods were against him tonight. Practically everything he touched turned to stone, and that puck, Draisaitl knew it too immediately that puck was in. Most of the rink thought it hit the crossbar. The play-by-play team thought it hit the crossbar. The two guys that knew it were in were Carlson and Draisaitl. There were just so many things wrong on that play. I was shouting in my mom's living room, eat it, eat it, eat it, like there's seconds left. Like, do anything you can. But there was, again, poor game recognition on a number of players. And it cost them a game, and it allowed Vegas to get back into the series. Huge play at an inopportune time.
I'm just looking how fatigued those guys might have been. What did McDavid and Draisaitl played? Oh, just 20-47, 23-58 for McDavid. Yeah. So Kulak struck me like he takes the player he goes with Carlson behind the net, and he just, the one that bothered me the most actually was up ice on Draisaitl because he just let him by.
Yeah, I agree.
So that was the most obvious lack of effort on the play. So then Kulak is still hustling, but maybe he could be a little bit more effective, dig in there a little bit harder and slow him down. Anyway, he loses the battle. Carlson throws it out front, and I believe it deflects off Skinner in the slot. Skinner tries to stop the pass coming out, and it deflects off his stick, and then it goes to Riley Smith. So if he hadn't deflected it, but that was a good play. He should be doing that. He should be trying to stop the pass because in theory, Carlson's hitting someone who he's seen. Anyway, it goes to Smith, and both Nurse and McDavid think there's going to be a shot because it's like they think there's 1 second left because there's like 2 or 3 seconds left. They both go down because they think there's going to be a shot from Smith, who's got the shot in the slot. Scary moment. They both go down to block it, and he dekes them out of their shorts.
Yep.
They're sprawling, and he's going in on net. So what happens next? Stuart Skinner comes out to meet him. Take away the ice from him. he knows that this game's almost over. The time is ticking down. He's just, if he can get out there and even eat up time on the guy, and he makes actually a really good play. He forces him wide, and that puck is going to go through the crease.
Yes,
Right through the crease.
it is.
Because Skinner has made the right play. He's forced him wide, and he's at a bad angle, and he puts the puck on net. It is going through the crease. There will be no goal. And at that moment, Leon Draisaitl has decided to hustle back and get his stick on it, and it's brutal. It's like, thank goodness gracious, this isn't a game 7. Because that's a Steve Smith moment if that's a game 7.
Yeah.
Like that no one ever forgets. Now, this is nonetheless a really big moment in this series, but you don't want to overplay it. Vegas is a really good team. Both you and I picked Vegas to win, to lose in 7. This series, though, would go 7 games because the two teams are fundamentally fairly even.
Agree.
Separated by a couple superstars. So, no surprise. Like, we all had our hopes up, right? Especially after it gets tied, that the Oilers can win a game, like steal a game that they don't really deserve. But maybe they did that kind of last game. They had already pulled the rabbit out of the hat in the last game where Vegas had lots of good chances, more good chances than the Oilers. Where Pickard was really great.
Yeah, but pretty even game though, right? Game 2. I mean, at the end of the day,
Game 2 was pretty even. Game 2 was pretty even.
Yeah.
Could have gone either way.
Yeah.
This game wasn't that even, and Vegas deserved to win. And so the Oilers have got to just suck that up and come out with a much better game plan. Everything about it has got to be better. That was not. If you're the coach, you don't have to focus on anything except unacceptable decision making, unacceptable defensive play, constant mental errors leading to goals against.
Yeah. I'm not sure the coach needs to say anything.
Kurt, that is a very astute. That's why we call you the hockey sage, Kurt. You are correct. I think you're right. You don't even have to say anything.
Yeah, I think
they know. What can you say? Get your heads out of your, It's not like that, because it's not like they just won 6 games in a row. You can't win every game is the other thing, right? You're not going to. It would be nice. That'd be okay. I'd like that.
I'd take it too. Yeah.
I got one more bad thing, which I'll just deal with quickly. It's just the second goal.
Yep.
And I haven't. A lot of people were remarking on a bad line change there, but the fact is, the Oilers had plenty of players back to make that play to stop that attacker. It's not like they were swarming the net with like a pack of attackers. Riley Smith came in there, and Klingberg made a play in the neutral zone. He probably shouldn't have made it. He should have just, because it is a line change, just play it safe, hang back. So that's a mental error, engaging in the neutral zone. And he might have sensed players behind them, because there were, but they were 2 forwards, Arvidsson and Podkolzin. And they both make stick checks on the goal scorer.
Yeah.
And just really kind of lame stick checks, like not even close, not close to good, not good at all. As Kevin Bieksa says, between periods, never trust a forward. And Smith goes in and scores. It's that's not on the goalie. That's on the players who
waved at him on the way by.
Yeah. So that was just another one of these moments that we've talked about all of the goals, and they were just all marked by the same kind of thing, which is mental errors, and a lack of effort at times. Lack of intensity, I guess, would be a better word.
Failure
of intensity.
Failure to dig in.
Yeah. Alrighty. Your numero.
2 and 54. Will 2 goals in 54 seconds by the Vegas Golden Knights change this series permanently? The Oilers were in control, up to nothing in games, up to nothing in goals. The barn was rocking. Then bam, and then bam again. 2 and 54. Sometimes series swing on moments. And if you're an Oilers fan, you hope that the series doesn't swing on that moment. But if you're asking me, David, I thought that almost 100% of the momentum was with Vegas from that second goal, the 2-2 goal, on for the rest of the game. McDavid made a couple terrific plays, late and eventually tied it. But I don't think there was any question who was the better team after the 2-2 goal. And the people I was watching the hockey game with thought the same thing. As that second period went along, it's like, boy, that really took the wind out of their sails, didn't it? 2-54. If this series ends up going 7 games like you and I predicted, David, we might look back on that series of 2 goals and say, that's where this series changed.
Yeah. Brutal. But good point. Stuart Skinner actually played really well in that stretch. He let in, there was 5 grade A shots, but 4 of them were in the second period, but 4 of them were 5 alarm shots. Mm-hmm. And he stopped 3 5-alarm shots and 4 grade A shots in the second period. He was keeping them in that game. And then finally, right near the end of the second, they score on as the Oilers just get overwhelmed and start and make mental errors. So from the second period, start of the second period, Kurt, mm-hmm. until McDavid had his first big chance, 6:19. We're looking at 34 minutes there. The grade A shots were 10-1.
Wow, really?
10-1 in that time period. They just took over the game. They dominated the game. Edmonton, one guy dragged them back, their star player. But Vegas really deserved that win. They were the better team. And I think in overtime they would have won. I would have been surprised if Vegas hadn't won that game. You never know, especially with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and Evan Bouchard. Like, there's some incredibly skilled scorers on the Oilers. But, wow, that was one team wanted that game way more than the other team.
Ultimately, right? And it's just, what a heartbreaker.
It's hockey. It's hockey. Kurt, any final thoughts or anything you'd like to add?
Well, I'll be fascinated to know who starts in goal in Game 4. If Calvin Pickard is healthy enough, my opinion is you go back to Pickard. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the way that Stuart Skinner played, and I thought he gave his team a puncher's chance tonight. It sounds like you agree.
Yes.
But I think the guy that was 6-0, if he's healthy and ready to go in Game 4, I think you go back to him. What do you think?
Well, it'll be a psychological edge for the Oilers, right? It'll change things up. I think this is their chance to get Stetcher in as well, mm-hmm. And take out Emberson if they really want to do that. I don't see why they wouldn't. I just think they would be better with 3 pairings.
Me too.
They're just constantly changing up the defense. I don't love it, and I don't think it's a recipe to go all the way to the cup. Yeah. I think you need to have 3 pairings that can play, and maybe that means you're going to have Bouchard and Wallman, and Klingberg and Nurse. Or but maybe it's going to be Nurse and Stetcher and Klingberg and Kulak. Like, Nurse and Stetcher are a good pairing, and you could have 3 pairings that you at even strength you play pretty much evenly. And I would like to see that. We talked about that last game. I think they should have done that this game. It would have given them some energy with having Stetcher in there.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see Jeff Skinner in, although I wouldn't. Like, who are you going to take out?
Offense wasn't really. Offense hasn't been the problem, though, right? I'm all for giving Skinner another chance, but I'm with you on the Stetcher thing. I think we see it the same way. I never played in the NHL, but I played some pretty good hockey. I played in a couple of provincial finals. Through all of that hockey, David, I could count on one hand the number of times I had a different defense partner. I played with the same guy all the time. It makes a difference, right? And I understand why they're doing it. I get it, but there's something to be said for continuity when you're a defenseman. Just knowing where your partner is all the time, just having that second sense of where he is in what situation, I think it makes a difference. And if you go with 6 pairings, you have the opportunity to achieve that.
So Emerson played 7 minutes.
It was like
20,
games in
like
a
they
row,
had him out.
right?
Yeah, so they had him out there 27 seconds shorthanded. If he's out there for a shorthanded work, you're wasting your time.
Agree.
They don't trust him enough to play him even strength. It is time for a change.
Yep.
And they will. I'd be shocked if they don't make it. Honestly, they've got to shake things up a bit. Stetcher is a veteran player. Man, he goes.
He does.
He battles.
Gives you everything he's got, right? Yeah.
He's confident, right? He's a confident hockey player. He's not a perfect hockey player. He's got limited reach because he's a small guy for hockey. But he can skate. He can pass. He provides energy. Like, bring him on. And then you can have 3 pairs of defensemen. Maybe they're not all discombobulated on a few goals against, although, I just think I'd love to see that. And I don't know what the pairings would be, but they can figure that out. They bring in Stetcher and they've got, that's 2 righties, Stetcher and, but Wallman can play the right side without much trouble.
Absolutely.
He's actually really good there. So do it. Make the change. I guess it would be Wallman, and you want a lefty with him. Maybe they put him with Nurse.
I like Wallman and Nurse. I've said that to you before. I think that's a really good
pair.
So
Klingberg. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, actually, they would have an extra righty, eh? I'm confused here. They would have Klingberg's a lefty, is he?
Klingberg's a righty. Klingberg shoots right.
Klingberg, Bush, Stetcher are all righties, correct? Kulak's obviously lefty, Nurse is a lefty, and Wallman's a lefty. So they could have 3 lefties. They don't have to move somebody over if they do this. They're just replacing a right shot guy with a right shot guy.
Correct, yes.
So you can do Nurse, Stetcher, Wallman, Bouchard, Kulak, Klingberg, or any variation. So you got 3 lefties, 3 righties. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
Sorry for getting
it's all good. Yeah, I don't know what they're waiting for, but now that they've had a loss, now is the time. It'll be interesting to see if they make any other lineup changes. I think going back to Pickard, if he is healthy, is the one. You and I agree on Stetcher. I wonder if there's anything else. I don't know.
Well, they got Jeff Skinner. Who are they going to put in? Kapanen? They're not going to put in Kapanen.
Well, I don't know. I mean, look at the soft play that you got from Arvidsson and Podkolzin on that goal. Right? Like, it's all I'm saying is it gives you pause for thought. When you see as many defensive and mental errors as you do in a game like this, there are guys that are waiting to get in, right? So that's I guess that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, Podkolzin, they're the least. Arvidsson played 9:54. Podkolzin played 8:19. So clearly, if someone's going out, but I don't think they'll take either out. They played well up until now.
Yeah.
So I just know it'll be, and we don't know a Stetcher. He after Hertel accidentally fell on him, he still played the rest of the game. So.
It must have stiffened up after the fact, right? That happens.
It does, and maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
If they go back with Skinner, that's okay too. Stu Skinner's a good goalie.
Yep.
He didn't play poorly tonight, and we'll see what happens in that regard. Kurt, thank you for talking tonight. I
would say it's a pleasure, but on a night like tonight, it was kind of tough, but you're always welcome. It's always great to talk to you.
Yeah, that game sucked. Mm-hmm. All right. And in the meantime, and in between time and until we meet again, Bruce McCurdy in the Hall of Our Fathers having a cold one with the Hockey Gourds. This has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.